Thanks to Zendure SuperBase V for sponsoring this video. I feel like I've been waiting an unusually long time for this TV to arrive. But then again, don't I like say that every year? Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and today we're going to unbox, set up, and get first impressions of the brand new TCL 6 Series TV. More specifically, the R655. A lot of anticipation built up around this TV, and that's true pretty much every year since TCL came out with its first 6 Series TV, but perhaps more than usual this year because Hisense went and snuck out the U8H, and where TCL's pretty much owned the bang for your buck high-performance TV segment, Hisense is kind of bringing the competition this year. So how is the new 6 Series going to stand up? I think a lot of people are asking that question, and we will have the answer soon. But before we do that, we have got to remove this TV from its absolutely massive box. TCL does that, especially with its 75 and 85-inch TVs. They are just in like huge boxes. Anyway, we're going to remove this thing, get it set up, see if there's any quirks along the way, and see what we're working with. So without further ado, let's do this. I got the box knife right over there, but before we start cutting into this thing, I need to know, TCL versus Hisense. You got feelings on the matter? Sight unseen. Let me know about it down in the comments below. Don't forget to click on some stuff. Now, let's do this. Okay, so because I know you are all very smart people, I was going to skip the part where I encourage you to have a friend help you set up your TV. But then I'd blow my opportunity to point out that the 75-inch version of the R655 here is not only large, but heavy. And I'm not mad about it. More on that in a moment. Getting into the box and grabbing the stuff you'll need from the top is easy, but pulling the TV from the base of the box takes some doing. And then you'll need to very carefully place it face down on a large surface, preferably with some sort of cushion, unless you're wall mounting the TV, in which case, never mind all that stuff. We, however, are not wall mounting and need to attach this provided stand, which is a hybrid of metal and plastic. Now, because I've set up hundreds of TVs over the years, I know exactly what I'm doing, and that hubris isn't going to come back to bite me at all. So I proceed to do the very obvious work of linking up these 3 little nubs on the plastic part with the 3 holes on the metal part, flip it over, and start screwing. Except, and you saw this coming, right? The hubris did come back to bite me, and now I have to cop to screwing this up. Turns out that the manual that comes in the box is indeed worth reading after all. And once I realized I needed to insert and tighten the screws from the inside of the plastic portion, which requires removing an outer plastic panel. Once the stand itself is correctly assembled, though, you have a choice between 2 mounting locations. The lower set here allows more space between the stand and the lower edge of the TV for a soundbar, while the upper set here will make for a stealthier look, which is what I went for. So after heaving the TV up onto our BDI corridor media stand, we get a look at the input bay, which includes 4 HDMI inputs, 2 HDMI ports, support 4K up to, you ready for this? 144 Hertz. That's right, TCL put it right on the box too. Native 144 Hertz panel. So take your 4K 120 and shove it, because this one does 144 Hertz. From 2 of the HDMI ports anyway. The other 2 are 4K 60, and this is interesting, that includes the eARC port. So that's good news if you have 2 4K 120 sources you want to connect directly to the TV. Not great news if you have an 8K or 4K 120 capable AV receiver and wanted to route everything through it and use a high bandwidth eARC port. Honestly, nobody's going to be happy unless the TV has 4 HDMI 2.1 ports anyway, so I'm just going to leave that there. Now, the other thing worth pointing out back here is the R655's cable management, which I was excited about until I started to use it, and this cable clip in the center of the stand just popped right off. Now, it's held on with adhesive, which apparently isn't strong enough to put up with the strain I put on it, but then again, the plastic didn't break either, so no, I'm sorry, I'm still disappointed here. And not only is this cable clip now basically useless unless I go grab some Gorilla Glue or something, but this plastic panel that hides the cables doesn't feel great when I pop it on either. This is, however, by far the cheapest feeling part of the TV because elsewhere, the build quality on this TV feels awesome. Hey, I'd like to thank Zendure for sponsoring this video. Introducing the Zendure SuperBase V. It's a semi-solid state battery that can pack up to 42% more energy storage than traditional lithium ion phosphate batteries. At home, it's a zero downtime, uninterruptible power supply that can deliver 120 and 240 volt power simultaneously at up to 7,600 watts. Folks, that means you could run your oven and your window AC at the same time and still have plenty of watts left to run every light bulb in your house while watching TV. Keep your house running for days, not hours. And SuperBase V can be recharged with up to 3,000 watts of solar power. Stack on expansion batteries and build your way up to 64 kilowatt hours of electricity storage. That is massive. Now, if you've already got a gas or propane generator, then you're just one cable away from an upgrade to clean, dependable backup power for your whole home. It's also your EV's new best friend, as you can easily add range to your EV with a quick charge. And you can imagine how clutch the SuperBase V would be as a power center for your RV. Use all your RV's amenities, your AC, microwave, TV, no gas required, and it's quiet, so you can use it at night without aggravating any camping neighbors. I'm out of time, and I didn't even get to talk about how legit portable it is. It has power wheels, folks. Zendure thought of everything. Look at all these power ports. You've never glamped so hard, I promise you. Tell me you don't want this thing right now. Zendure SuperBase V, go get one. Thanks to Zendure for sponsoring this video. Okay, so now that we flipped it around and removed the plastic, it looks pretty great too. I mean, it looks like a TV. It's not breaking design barriers or anything, but it's got almost non-existent bezels and a sleek, low-slung look. I'd be happy to have this in my living room, and maybe I will. But before I get ahead of myself, let's turn this thing on. Now, this is the part where I normally go on a mini tirade and talk about how frustrating it is to get a TV with Roku OS built in, up and running, but there will be none of that today, my friends. Oh no. As a matter of fact, I am shocked at how quickly this TV is running Roku OS. The initial setup process took almost no time at all, maybe like 90 seconds, if that, versus the several minutes of updating and downloading and installing and unnecessarily cutesy messaging that I'm used to dealing with. I mean, the cutesy messaging is still there, but it only lasts a short time, so this is fine. I'm happy to see all my apps here as expected, even if they are totally in the wrong order. So I spent a little time moving them around, and now it's time to make some basic picture settings adjustments. And on that note, I am thrilled to report that I have even more good news. Again, I'm used to a really long, protracted, inexcusably confusing and confounding picture settings process here, and I don't know who to thank for listening, Roku or TCL, but my pleading was heard, and this is so much better. I start with playing SDR content on the YouTube app, and after adjusting the brightness preset out of auto, I turn off the low power mode. From there, I select movie, just because I know its color temperature will be closer to what I want, and look at that, all the motion smoothing is disabled by default. And now I can assign that setting to all inputs. I love it. Same deal with HDR, but when I went into an HDR video, dark HDR had already been selected, which is awesome because that's most likely what I'd want anyway. But I can choose a brighter mode, change color temp, disable motion smoothing, and again, assign that to all inputs. Still love it. Finally, Dolby Vision. Now by default, it's in Dolby Vision IQ, which I might be okay with except motion smoothing. So I can go with Dolby Vision Dark and everything else is solid already, or Dolby Vision Bright, tweak the motion and color temp, and I'm good. Apply all settings, yes. Now, if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll find that there is a section for fine-tuning the picture, which gives you controls for backlight, brightness, contrast, color tint, etc. Now from here, if you wanted to do any real calibration, you'd need to use the Roku app on a mobile device, which I find frustrating for all of about 2 minutes, and then I get over it. I suppose it's not the worst thing that TCL and Roku put those deeper settings behind a barrier of sorts, since they really shouldn't be messed with by anyone other than those with the proper gear and know how to adjust them anyway, so no harm, no foul. Oh, also I should point out that I will go ahead and set up the tuner on this TV, but it does not support next-gen TV, aka ATSC 3.0, which seems like an odd omission on TCL's part. I mean, it's hard to imagine it adding much cost to the production of the TV, and between the fact that there are a fair number of markets in the US that have gone live with next-gen TV broadcasts, plus the fact that folks are all up in the comments asking if this TV or that TV supports it, I feel like the interest is high enough now. Anyway, no next-gen TV here. So I like the build quality, except that cable management related stuff. I like the look of the TV itself. I'm in love with the snappy new setup process and intuitive picture presets. So far, really good. Now, what about first impressions of picture quality? Well, I think I got a good hit on the panel lottery. Maybe I didn't land the Powerball, but I'm definitely cashing in. I feel like the warm color temperature is maybe going too hard in the warm direction. I really wish the warm setting offered more pop. It's kind of muted, though I can clearly tell that the cooler color temp setting is just like way too blue. So there's some work to be done there. I also feel like the average picture level is bright enough, just nowhere near as bright as the Hisense U8H, which I'm not saying is a negative thing at all. I definitely do feel like this TV has some punch for HDR. Its brightness capabilities are up there in the specular highlights, so tone mapping looks good so far. Further tests will reveal whether that's actually the case or not. And as for the local dimming mini LED backlight control, well, no red flags so far, which is a good start, but I haven't stress tested the TV yet. So just how good is it? Well, that's going to be a big part of the full review, and for that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and here's 2 other videos I think you might like.